Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at some cool pieces. I've got 5 older Matchbox that they're just definitely worth a look. 4 of these, I believe, are 55 years old. So they predate me. I'm 47. So four of these cars are 55 years old, and then one of them is 45 years old. So definitely some relics, some super early Matchbox pieces, and you'll see when we look at them that they're honestly in dang good shape. They all roll. They all are complete. I'm pretty sure they're complete. There are some questions with that on one of them, but I think they're all complete. And then it's cool reference material. So I have like the big book of super fast Matchbox toys, and I have both volumes because I'm a dork. But it's just cool reference material. So this ended, or these volumes don't cover anything beyond the year 2004. So the information in here has to predate 2004 to be valid. And then there is like price guides in here, which I don't really pay a whole lot of attention to that. But if a price is listed for a vehicle or for a piece of die cast, then that must have been as of 2004 is what the price would have been. And so prices could be significantly higher or lower as of today, being 2025, 21 years post the production of these volumes or whatever. So I'm not going to chat with you too much right now. We'll reference the book a little bit just because I think it's neat to find older pieces and then be able to find them covered in this book. I think because this isn't like all inclusive, but obviously the old stuff is. So the first is at 75, the first 75 Matchbox pieces. All of them, I don't think I mentioned that. All of these are made in England by the Lesney Toy Company. So we'll look at the bases and everything, but just some really cool historic pieces in my opinion, and I'm glad to have them, and I wanted to share them with you guys. So let's just move over here and start looking at some old vintage Matchbox. All right, so we're gonna kind of be all over the place here, so I apologize for that. But the first one we're gonna look at is this Ford camper, super fast Ford camper, and I want you to see that they all roll. It's very, very nice piece. Matchbox super fast camper, 1979, made in England, Lesney Products. So, and then if you look here, it is number 38 of like their first 75. Get a plate there. It's just very cool. So copyright 1979, this released in 1980. So this is the 45-year-old camper truck. So yeah, there were some questions in the book. You can open up the book if you have a copy of it. You open up the book to page 8, which is where the first 75 are listed. Then you can find MB38, because this was number 38 that I showed you on the base. And then you'll find it's in the book called the Ford Camper, but the base just said Camper. But release of 1980. And then if you go back to the images of the vehicle, so then I'll just pick you up here. And there it is, MB38 D3 Ford Camper. There's both of them in the shot. And then this was kind of one of the ones that was questionable. So if you flip back to the notes section where they talk about variations, MB38 Ford Camper issued in 1980 the note, below models with dot dash wheels, unpainted metal base, and England casting. All versions except number 1 with the number 38 cast on the base. So then it talks about like an orange reddish body with green cab windows, beige camper, but then the camper has amber windows. So I have the right wheels and the right windshield, but there is no glass in the camper or plastic window coverings. But I do have what I would say the version listed that says number 38 cast on the base. So it's kind of hard to solve all those riddles, but it's a freaking awesome piece to have. So then we'll move along here, and I'm not going to take that much time on each truck, but this is the Leyland petrol tanker, and this is Matchbox series number 32. And again, I'm just showing you that she rolls. This is metal. Everything on this is metal. And then a look at your base. Made in England by Lesney, the Leyland petrol tanker, Matchbox series number 32. And if I just real quickly go to MB32 in the book, you can see it listed there. And in the notes, in the front section of the book, it does say that the BP sticker, and it's certainly not the BP of today that you're familiar with, I wouldn't think, but the BP stickers can be located in the middle of the tanker or more towards the front. And then if you look, this one has the super fast wheels, but mine has the sticker towards the front and then the old skinny Matchbox style wheels. So mine predates the one in the book, but super cool. Obviously it's got some dings. This is 1970 release, so 55 years old at this point. But that is very cool to have in the collection. And then one of my personal favorites, because I do like Land Rovers, is the Land Rover Safari. And as you can see, she's a roller. The hitch is still intact, which is pretty rare. The cargo is still attached to the top, which is also pretty rare. And then made in England by Lesney, Matchbox series number 12, Land Rover Safari. And so if we go to MB12 in the book, This one actually shows the variant. And so you get the gold one with the luggage, MB-12A1 Land Rover Safari, and the super fast wheels. Mine is obviously the blue one, not super fast wheels, predates that. And that's just a very cool piece of history. Like I said, the interior white, the steering wheel not broken, the luggage is still there, the hitch is still there, and it rolls complete. It's a very cool piece. Everybody seems to love this truck, and I mean, I do too, but the Matchbox refuse truck. Kind of a little wonky on this one. Again, 55 years old, 1970 release. Here's our base. Matchbox series number 7, refuse truck, made in England by Lesney. And then this piece that I'm holding here is metal. This is plastic, but the rest of the truck is all metal, and it's moving part. Dump the trash. Very, very awesome. And then again, just because I'm a nerd and I think it's cool to find these things in the book, we will find number 7. And it is the Ford refuse truck right there. And again, this is the super fast volume, so this has the super fast wheels on it. Orange. Just very cool. I mean, 55 years old. It's got some scuffs and some bumps and whatever, but awesome. Super awesome. Ford on the front grille. Just very cool. Little license plate. Gonna focus a little bit, but awesome piece. And then the last one I want to show you today is really cool. The Volkswagen 1600 TL. And this one, I believe, is actually quite rare. Rolls really well. Again, another one, 55 years old. Here's your base. Matchbox, series number 67, Volkswagen 1600 TL, made in England, Lesney products, super fast. And then this actually has the patent information on it, which I thought was kind of neat. And then opening parts. I don't like to get too carried away messing with those, but on both sides, both doors open. And then just because I want to show you, because I thought this was kind of interesting, we'll find 67 in the book. And when you find this car in the book, they don't have the red one listed. They have MB67A2 1600 TL in purple with the super fast wheels, and then they have A6 1600 TL, but also in purple. So A2 and A6, which is kind of, I don't know, that's interesting to me. I didn't understand those variants. And then if I come back to the notes, this is what interests me. This is why I become such a dork. When you come back to the book, this is on the notes side. So MB67A Volkswagen 1600 TL issued 1970. Below models have clear windows. Check. Ivory interior. Check. 5-spoke wheels. Check. And those are the super fast wheels. This one actually said super fast on the bottom. Unpainted metal base with an England casting. Check. And then the earliest versions had narrow wheels with the later issues having wide wheels. And so I would say that's an early narrow wheeled version. Those are pretty narrow. And then when we looked at the images, it talked about the purple ones. So A2 was a purple grape body, and then A5 was metallic purple, blah, blah, blah. But I thought this was interesting. So the red body, check. $85 to $110 car in 2004, because that's when this book, or when the history of this book ends. So nothing beyond 2004. So in the last 21 years, this car could have either gone up in value or down in value, and I don't really know. And I'm assuming that these are prices if the car was mint. This certainly isn't mint, but it is very nice replica, or not replica, very nice condition for its age. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. These books are really cool in that regard of just looking up information on some of your older stuff. But so yeah, what do you guys think? That's a look at some of my oldest stuff. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are 55 years old. This one being 45 years old. So awesome pieces to have in the collection, in my opinion. All right, there was a look at some of my oldest die-casts that I have. Predating me. It's wild to think that those cars were produced 5, 7, 8 years before I was even born. And then to have them in that good of condition. I'm sure some collectors have mint, maybe still in the package or with their original box type pieces, and I think that's great. But for me to have those in that good a condition, all the parts are there, they still roll well, I'm super happy to have those. And I hope you enjoyed me kind of showing you the history and then referencing the book. That's kind of the dorky stuff that I'm into in this die-cast hobby. So those deserve to be kind of displayed and enjoyed. So they're not going to just sit. They're not going to go in a 48 case or hit the board here. I picked these up at the Hobby Lobby for $6.99, so a little over $1 a piece. $7, you get 6 of them, and they're just these beveled edge. You're probably not going to get a great look there, but beveled edge acrylic display cases, and then the bottom, they just pop open, and then you can All right, my camera issues are abundant today, so we're not gonna dilly-dally because I don't know what's going on with my camera and the memory card. But anyway, set your car on the base, clean the car off, and then you can put this case over the top and then display it, and then your car won't collect dust or anything like that. So very cool. Pick those up, like I said, Hobby Lobby, $7 for 6 of them. And you know, if you've got really nice pieces, maybe you can display them in that. So thanks for watching. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of those classics. I think they're great, and we'll see you in a future video. Take care.